And I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Because this is a question that's asked of me. And as you know, I stay, with family. So if someone wants to stay in a casa particular or a hostel,
Yeah.
how do they find it other than Airbnb, for example? Is there a way to find it? There's like a few casas that I follow on social media, like in Facebook and in Instagram. But what's the best route for someone who's coming in to find those resources outside of just Airbnb and booking something on Airbnb?
Well, sometimes I saw Airbnb and Hostel World are the most common apps or platforms that people use to came here and book an accommodation. Because if you came here and you didn't have your accommodation, it's very complicated because you don't know. You are like walking there and you have an accommodation for me. I'm a tourist. No, it's not safe. It's not a safe way to maybe have your
Some people do that, though.
yeah.
I don't know.
People who likes adrenaline, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's a little risk. It's a little risk, but Hostel World is the other platform that I heard is very common and it's frequently used for tourists here. I don't know, TripAdvisor works here. I don't
Yes.
know.
Yes. Yeah,
But
yeah.
people use TripAdvisor for restaurants and other kind
Actually,
of...
Booking.com works here. as well.
Booking.com too.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, people don't think about that because they think that Cuba is a ghost country.
Also, I'm currently in .com.
Yes, you can check that out.
Another
Yeah.
great resource to find
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
accommodation.
But it depends, guys. It's up to you about what do you want to find in Cuba, how much you want to pay.
Exactly.
But in Cuba, you can find everything. Don't just... People think that Cuba is a poor country again. So you're going to find
You
like
can find everything.
a falling apart building and that's what you're going to get. No, you can pay $300 for a luxury place if you want to because it's very contrasting.
Also, do not be fooled by the exterior because some of the insides of these apartments are stunning, like jaw-dropping, beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
And it just blended in. You don't even know. And you come through the doors and you're like, whoa, they have everything. I have like a washer and dryer here. I have my dishwasher here. It's perfectly temperature controlled. Like everything's stunning. King size bed that's super comfortable. You're like, wow, what the? How does this
how do
even
you get this?
happen?
How do you
How
get
does it
this?
even happen? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I always say that Cuba is like the Hawaii country, and this is one of the questions. Hey, why is Cuba like having these accommodations when you have this like so many issues? And I say, well, it depends. Well, actually, when it comes to accommodations, some of these like super luxury places, they belong to someone who is living out of the country.
Exactly.
So they have the budget to invest in that. And at the end, they say, well, they're rich or they're making a lot of money. Some people do, some don't. It's like, I have the money, I invested, but it's because I'm thinking in long term. But at the end, they're not making a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's just because...
I have a colleague, friend, I don't know what to call him, but it's like I met him through Airbnb. And so like I have his personal number. So sometimes if I do want to find like a nice accommodation for someone who is, because there are some travelers who prefer, certain comforts that they have
Yeah,
at home
sure.
and they
Exactly.
want something like an
Why
Airbnb
not?
that's a little bit more comfortable. So, and they don't mind paying a little bit more for that.
Yeah, sure.
So I do have a contact who lives in Miami and owns a few properties here. So he's Cuban American. And they're on Airbnb. And some people are like, oh, don't do Airbnb because, again, it's like people who are outside of the country, they're just getting the money. But a lot of them do employ individuals that live here in the country to take care of the homes.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you are staying in a home with Airbnb and you have amazing service from the home, the caretaker of the home, then leave a really good tip.
Yeah.
That's still like another way to give back is if you have someone who's incredible, they found you a taxi all the time, they told you all the good places to eat, like it doesn't matter what time of day it was, you could get a towel from them if you needed a new towel or whatever it is, and they're providing an excellent service. They're Cuban, they live here, so tip them well, like they're taking care of you.
Yeah. And at the end, you're going to be supporting them, People don't think about how important is tipping in Cuba. That's going to be a huge help. Just because of course, you're going to be tipping. Another tip is never tip in Cuban peso because the valuation is going like it's dropping all the time. It's crazy. The inflation here is huge. So if you want to tip in dollars or euros, whatever.
And if you tip in the national currency, just think about it in dollars.
Yeah.
Like think about how many dollars you want to leave, do the exchange in your head, and leave that. But then, of course, it's complicated because the exchange rate is
Very complicated.
changing.
Now that you were talking about the guys that were trying to sell you bread, yeah, you have another question here. Actually, people on TikTok have like very good questions. Daily spend cash or money in Cuba for tourists versus what Cubans spend daily. This is a good one.
Yeah. This one, so as a tourist or someone coming into the country, I can talk all day about what you're going to spend because you have the resources.
Yes.
You've got the cash in your hand.
It's easy.
But what I've noticed is even for the Cuban people, it's incredible to me that if you're not like doing a side hustle, if you don't have help from the outside, and this is more a question for you guys because I'm in the neighborhood buying stuff from the neighbor who has a contact who can sell us oil, and so I'm buying it. But I spent 2,000 pesos for oil, cooking oil. That blew my mind. Mm-hmm. And they were like, this is normal.
Yeah.
So I need to know, what does that spend look like for the average Cuban? I can talk about, again, tourism all day, but this blew my mind. Like when we went to find oil, in fact, I started taking a video of each thing I bought and writing down the price in pesos cubano, so that I know, okay, in my 2 weeks of being here, this is what I spent in the national currency, people to people, in the suburbs.
Yeah.
How do they do it?
I think, from my point of view, and something that probably you don't know about is you need to have like side hustles a lot. For example, in my case, some people think that I do only YouTube. I'm doing Uber in Cuba, which is La Nave, and I'm selling stuff and I'm hustling all the time. And that's one of the reasons why I can live like I live. I'm not rich, but I live well, you know. And some people do, but it's about what do you want to do, how much you want to work. Because in Cuba, you have like the options. Some of them are not going to be legal. Like, for example, buying stuff in the MLC and resell them. That's not going to be legal. But so many people do that.
That's how we get most of our things.
Yes, and you make a lot of money because some people, they don't find the oil on the stores because some private people have it on the street. So it's going to be much easier. It's going to be expensive, but it's the only way to get it. And at the end, you think, well, if I buy the oil, I'm going to be supporting the Cuban people. But yeah, you're going to be like, you know, the prices are going to be super high, but you get what you get.
So tell me if this is correct, because one thing that I immediately asked that one is when we go to, there's a handful of bodegas in the neighborhood, and I'm like, dude, they have yogurt, like all the they have, the flavors and all that stuff. How are these like little bodegas getting it?
But you're talking about the private one?
Yeah.
Oh, now is, I think, do you know what MIPYMEs are?
No.
Oh my
MIPYMEs
God.
are like, it's like a new legal license, let's call it that way, that the government provided to people. So you can have like a mini company, something like that. So you have the option to import and export things. And so many people have the budget. I don't know how. Maybe they have some friends, I can tell. And they buy stuff a lot, like containers from Mexico, some other countries. So they bring all this stuff. And at the end, you're going to be selling this legally because you have the license. But it's going to be almost the same that you would find in the MLC. So it's like another why.
Okay. Yeah, he was telling me about that
Yeah.
as well as reselling from MLC.
Yeah. It's like why I cannot resell from the MLC.
Okay.
What should I get? The MIPYME license?
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's just something that was really interesting to me.
And at the
I
same
wanted to
time,
know,
it's like
where these goods were coming from.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, I'm having like a private store which I'm selling. I'm being like a government competitor at the same time, but it's legal. So why I can't go to the MLC and resell stuff on the street? Why not? Is that illegal in the United States? Like buying and reselling stuff?
People buy and resell all the time in the United States. Usually it's things like equipment, shoes, collectibles.
And eBay.
And they do it through or there's like designated websites where you can do it. So yeah, it's totally fine to do so.